And welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We are here with a mock draft episode. We're going to kind of try to put a quick bow on this draft season here, give you one last rookie mock draft before we kick it off into some general dynasty and redraft content as we make our way through the summer here. As always, we are Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. Find us on Twitter at BeerFueledFF. Individually, I'm at Nick Sparts. Dan Theory across the table from me as always.
At Theory BFF. What's up, guys?
And
Words.
manning the mixing board is Christopher Hopper.
At Hot BFF with 2 P's. How you all doing? Happy Wednesday.
All right, we're going to try to do this one nice and quick. We do not have any news for you. We're going to do a beer preview and a mock.
Beer Fuel.
And this is when we were hyping up so much that Dan just had to grab a six-pack and bring it on the show because he hadn't had it yet. This is Juiced by Four Hands. It is a modified version of their Contact High, which is one of their staple beers. They've added some tangerine and orange flavor to it. I could probably review this one already because I'm through a few six-packs at this point over the last few weeks.
It's that good. I'm through. I've had 3 or 4 just on my own. And with the weight loss thing, don't really drink beer right now unless I'm on this show. So
Yeah, it's definitely become a favorite.
I've had 2 sips.
it's good.
So we'll wait until we get through a few rounds of this mock draft to give you a full overview of that. But I want to get into the mock because we don't want to make this a super long episode like the one with top 2 was.
Fantasy mock draft.
Hey, guys, look! It's the real Buzz Lightyear!
You're mocking me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
All right, and I did do a random order on this. Dan, you were able to draw the number 1 overall pick. So unlike real life, you will actually get a share of your favorite player.
I should probably open this document.
Barkley.
All right.
Giants isn't the most ideal landing spot, but it's Barkley. So
I mean, it's not a bad one.
Nope.
All right, I am up at 102. My 102 has not changed during this entire process, even though he did slip and land in not my favorite spot, but it wasn't a bad one either. Darius Geist does go to the Washington Redskins, apparently has some interview issues that caused him to slide to the end of the second round, but he's still extremely talented. There's no one there who's going to take first and second down work from him. Kelly and P. Ryan are dead. And Geist should be in a very solid situation, and he doesn't have to do everything right away, but I think he might be able to grow into it.
Indeed. All right. With my 3rd pick in this draft, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to jump on Royce Freeman. Look, I still like Nick Chubb. Don't get me wrong. It's really close between those 2 for me. But Royce Freeman, the difference to me is the year 1 value. I think that he's got a clear shot at this. I think that he does both pass and run, which Chubb is just more of a between the tackles guy. So I think he's a little bit more dynamic, and his landing spot was exceptional. So
yeah, landing on the Broncos where he's immediately going to jump ahead of Booker. Few offensive line questions there, but Keenum is going to free up passing down work for him. And that offense in general should avoid a lot of stack boxes with Thomas, Sutton, Sanders, Henderson, and Hamilton.
Yep.
All right, Dan, you're up with the 104.
My 3rd ranked guy, Rashad Penny. I know you guys aren't as high on him as I am. There's obviously question marks to him being a 3-down back, but Pete Carroll doesn't give a fuck because he wants him to be their 3-down back. He is the only real true piece there, unless you believe in Chris Carson, which it's okay if you do, but Mike Davis dead. J.D. McKissick may have a role, but it's small. C.J. Prosise can't stay healthy. And I know the offense line is garbage, but there's a lot of potential here in this offense.
Hey, Melvin Gordon's been a running back one with less than 4 yards a carry. Penny might be able to do the same. All right, I'm up with pick 5. This one's real easy for me. I'll take my number 3 overall player, which is Nick Chubb. Expecting very little out of him year 1 when he split in the backfield with Carlos Hyde, but I think after 2018, Hyde and Duke Johnson might both be gone, and this could potentially be the Nick Chubb show there for the Browns. 106, Hopper, you are up.
I'm going to go with Ronald Jones. He's landed in a pretty good spot. I don't believe in Peyton Barber is anything. He's a pretty good between the tackles runner and blocker for his size, especially if he puts on about 10 pounds. I think that he's got all the potential in the world to be a 3-down back.
All right, moving on to the 7th pick. Dan, you are on the clock.
I'm going to take my 5th-ranked player, this Sony Michel. I know this isn't the ideal landing spot, but I actually think it's pretty good. I think he is going to take the Deion Lewis role. He doesn't have to come in and be the workhorse back. I don't think he's built for that. There is obviously knee concerns. He did fumble on about 58 carries He did fumble once per 58 carries in college, so there is some concern there. But even Lewis and Burke had fumbling issues last year, and they both saw the field because there's nothing else there. I think Michelle has a chance to be a very productive running back in this offense.
So I did have somebody break that stat down for me. Apparently that was mostly an issue when he was younger, his freshman and sophomore years. He only fumbled twice his junior and senior year.
He also fumbled in the championship game, which is I know it doesn't mean much, but I'm just saying. It is. He's looked to fix it.
Yeah. He's not going to be crucified if he gets one
Like
fumble.
I said, I don't think it's not like, Stephen Ridley type of thing where he's a 1,200-yard runner one year, then he's benched because of one fumble.
Yeah, if he starts fumbling like Adrian Peterson, it'll be a problem, but otherwise he'll be fine. All right, 108. There has not been a wide receiver off the board yet, but I'm easily going to take DJ Moore here at the 108 spot. I actually have him ranked as my 5th overall player coming into this spot. I actually really like the landing spot in the Panthers just because I think there's no one who's going to fight him for the wide receiver 1 position within a year or two. Even though Cam is not the most accurate passer, it's still better than he dealt with in college, and he was still a very productive wide receiver. He's going to get fed enough targets that he should be very, very productive, even if it's not a quote-unquote perfect landing spot, and it's the best landing spot of the big 2 receivers.
So Nick just sniped me a bit here because DJ Moore is my fifth ranked player. So for me, I'm also going to go wide receiver, though. I'm going to take my 7th ranked player. That's going to be Cortland Sutton. Look, he landed in Denver, which isn't the best spot right away, but the Broncos have outs on both Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders after this season. He should have somewhat of a role right away, regardless, pushing Sanders into the slot. And then after this season, he should easily be the 2 there, and hopefully eventually the 1. Think of it as Julio Jones coming in with Roddy White. It's kind of the same scenario here. So Sutton's more of a long-term play, but his long-term upside is amazing.
Dan?
I'm going to take my 2nd receiver. We're going to do a 3-receiver train. This is very close. Mine is actually Michael Gallup, just because of the potential for first-year production, which is what I think a lot of people want. I love Michael Gallup, and I love this landing spot. I think he has the potential to not only be a wide receiver 1 in this offense this year, but to move on even forward to the point where he might even help make Dak actually last longer there.
They're 2A and 2B for me.
Exactly.
Gallup and Sutton are. So.
Yeah.
Yep, I have them ranked very close as well. I have originally in my rankings, I had Sutton and Gallup ahead of the guy who I'm going to take here at 111, but after kind of looking at drafts and how these fall and what a cliff it is at running back, I'm actually taking Kerryon Johnson ahead of them, and I'm going to take Kerryon Johnson at 111 here because there is no running back to take after him. He is the last man standing.
We are so freaking chalk as far as
Well,
how
I mean,
we're doing this. It's not even funny.
I think the first 12 picks are all pretty much the same. I mean, there's some receivers that may change for some people. I think all 3 of us have everything the same.
I can probably predict his pick. It's probably going to be Christian Kirk.
It is going to be Christian.
Yeah, exactly.
It is going to be Christian Kirk. Are you looking at my rankings from yesterday? Because no, that's the last one left. It is going to be Christian Kirk. He lands in a very good spot. This is Fitzgerald's last season, so he's the heir apparent in the slot. If they're going to put their best core out on the field this season, Fitzgerald's going to move back outside to get Christian Kirk on the field. But even if the year 1 production's not there, the long-term production's great, especially in PPR formats.
Yeah, and just to kind of put a quick bow on the first round, and the reason we kind of blew through this so quickly is I think this is a hard line on the first round. These 12 guys may go in slightly different orders, but this is your top 12 players.
You might see guys like Christian Kirk, or I'm sorry, not guys like Christian, or like Calvin Ridley for most people on boards, but like if you talk to most of the people in the draft dynasty community, Ridley's a lot lower on those people's boards than.
And I'd hope landing behind Julio would temper that a little bit.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
leagues.
You would think.
The only other player I've seen sneak up would be Anthony Miller, but I like him a lot, but he's still round 2 for me, which I'm pretty sure he's
Transition, because Anthony Miller is one of my favorite receivers
He was
in the draft.
He was the next person in my rankings.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine too.
I think Miller's hype train, I think, was started by us.
Yeah.
I'm going to help claim it because I fucking love Anthony Miller. I love this landing spot. I think he has the opportunity to be the wide receiver 2 in this offense, which has gotten a lot better in this offseason. And I think he has the potential to be the numbers or the wide receiver 1. And I love Allen Robinson. I know that's a big tail, but the way that Miller plays, his aggression as a receiver is Steve Smith light, and it's amazing to watch.
All right.
All right. So, I mean, I completely agree on Anthony Miller. He's actually the player that made me learn how to create GIFs out of YouTube videos. Because he had a few plays that like, I need to tweet this. I need to turn this into a GIF.
Yeah.
So Anthony Miller, he was already pretty high. Like, we had him almost.
We're higher on him than most.
Yeah, because most people had a third round grade on him. We had him in the mid to early second. And then when he went in the second round of the Bears, he jumped
they
immediately
traded up to get him.
He immediately
worth it.
jumped to the top of the second round for us.
Yep.
All right, I am up at the 202. This is a really awkward spot to me because in most drafts where I'm not drafting with you two, one of these players would have fallen to me, but I see a significant tier break there after Miller.
There definitely is.
So it's basically a fight between a few guys. I am going to go with Dante Pettis, a guy who I like, I think, a little bit better than you two do, but he's kind of in the next tier of guys, and this is about the spot where I'm going to be taking him is that 203 to 204 range.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. You could make an argument that this 13th pick with Miller is kind of the drop-off point in the draft, like Nick alluded to. So you could make arguments for a few guys, but this is where it starts to get a little dicey. So
Yeah, there's guys where it's like, I kind of like them, but it's not nearly as much as you like those guys in that first 13.
this is the area where you kind of start to see middle of the second, because we don't always draft together. You see people start to trade out of it.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, we just literally are in a slow draft right now. This is why I was so desperate to trade up to 201 is because there was a few
Dude,
players
I
who
tried so
fell.
fucking hard.
I tried so hard to get into the back of the first.
Yeah, I was
I
desperate.
will be contacting certain people post draft about certain players that they drafted.
Yep.
But yeah,
Anyway, more on that later.
But yeah, it seems to be an ideal if you can trade up into the late first or early second.
Do it.
Do it.
Yep.
Because once you get past that, you're in the shit.
All right. Hopper, you're up at 203.
Calvin Ridley, for me, this is where I think you should be going.
Yep.
Is towards, back early to mid second round. Look, he did land with Julio, who is beat up. Muhammad, who does get beat up on occasion. He is going to have a roll out of the gate. Mohamed Sanu is probably on borrowed time there. So it's more of a slow burn for Ridley. I think his future is in the slot, but I do think that he has value as at least kind of a wide receiver 3-ish type of player for his career, maybe up into the 2 range. So I'm going to take him as one of the last guys that has certain value.
I like this landing spot for them. He doesn't have to produce year one as much. He's not going to have that. Yes, I was a wide receiver or drafted in the first round, so I have to produce. I get to now play and learn behind Julio Jones, who is one of the best in the league.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't think he'll ever be a true wide receiver 1, but I think he's locked in as a 2 or a 3, which you get that in the early second round, you just take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's going to see a lot of single coverage.
Yeah, and
He's a fantastic route runner, great at separating late. I still like Ridley. I love this spot for him, though.
yep. And from the NFL standpoint, this
Yeah.
is I think the perfect landing spot for him.
It is.
Dan, you're up.
We're going with the first tight end off the board. I'm going Mike Gesicki here. Snipes, yeah, no. This is probably right where it starts. There's a couple more players left that I would be okay with taking. Gesicki at least should be productive, or at least try to give you that production.
Landing
year
spot
one.
was great.
Landing spot was fantastic, even though Miami's team is a fucking dumpster fire at this point. Someone has to catch footballs there, and whatever Penn State's doing, in that water out there. But Gesicki is the upside is fucking huge for him, I think.
No, I agree with you, and this is about where I actually took Gesicki in your rookie
You
draft.
keep fucking sniping me on him.
So I do.
So
Yeah, you
upset.
took him at what, 206 in that
206.
Yeah, that was
So,
a fantastic.
And that's where you should be going. Look, it's higher than you would normally see a tight end go on a one tight end league, but there's not a lot of depth in this class. So when it comes down to it, when you start taking your throws, well, Gesicki's a sure thing. You're at least getting a sure thing at a position. If you don't need a tight end, it's a trade piece.
you might, there's a chance he gives you Evan Ingram type of production because you could get that, those amount of targets.
Yeah, Landry gone. There's a ton of vacated targets there.
There is.
Parker's done
so-
shit, and they have nobody else really. behind
Thomas is
them.
gone.
Yeah,
Thomas is gone. Yeah.
So just to put this out there, the last 5 picks were chalked to my rankings.
pretty much for me. It's all same tier. So
This is where it starts to get real ugly for me, is kind of this mid-second, because it just kind of becomes a mess. So I normally would not do this in most drafts, but I really like this player, and I really don't like a lot of the other positions options. So I'm actually going to take Baker Mayfield here.
This is around the range he goes.
Yeah, and it's early, but at the same time, you don't have a lot of sure things. So it's the same argument as Gesicki and taking him earlier. You're taking an 101 who's going to see the field at some point for better or for worse quarterback. And I think it's for better. We all like Mayfield and his upside. So I think that this is about the point where you have to do it when normally you wouldn't be doing it until the early third.
It's also based on team needs. I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is around the range he typically goes.
Yeah.
So and just kind of me taking Mayfield here at 205 kind of is the point to me where it's like this draft is not as good as last year's was.
No, it's
It doesn't
not.
have the depth.
It's got a real good first round, and then it starts
Landing
to drop in a
spots-
hurry.
Landing spots fucking killed
A lot
the
of
depth
guys.
in this draft.
Yep.
All right, so now it starts to get real interesting. Hopper, you're up at 206.
So at 206, I'm higher on this guy, I think, than most people are, but I'm gonna take Jordan Wilkins. I got some heat for taking him in another draft.
I mean, it's
Also, but at the same time, he's got, to me, the best chance at taking the Frank Gore role in Indy, which means that he's going to have touches. It's really, in my opinion, there's one other guy left. Last running back that I think has any value long-term in this draft. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on that, especially if I'm a running back needy team, to go ahead and get Wilkins, get him on my roster, and hope that, he does something in Indy, which he has the potential to, and there's the opportunity there.
it's also a late second where you start to see
Mid-second.
you're more mid to late second where you get more of your upside type of plays. So
Yeah, I mean, and once you get past the first 8 running backs, you can kind of
it's
argue.
a fucking cliff.
Yeah, you can argue between 3 or 4 guys, but if you're wanting to take running back in the second round, that's what you're looking
I'm
at.
hoping for someone to
Wilkins-
slide.
It's Wilkins and the other guy I was considering.
All right, Dan, you're up at 207.
I'm going to take the guy that I'm ultra high on, and then I think most people, and that's going to be Traquan Smith. I love this landing
I was
spot.
debating him there.
Yeah, I love this landing spot because I think he's going to have a chance to grow in this offense. He gets Drew Brees for at least a year, not 2. Gets to play alongside Michael Thomas. He's great at 50-50 embodying out players. He's got a fantastic arm length, hand size. Like I said, he's still a little bit raw, but he gets to learn and potentially be the wide receiver 2 in this high-powered offense.
Yeah, love that pick there. He would have absolutely been mine if you had not taken him.
I was debating him when I took Wilkins.
I thought maybe you would.
I almost did.
I got Wilkins 2 spots below Smith, so that's not
Actually-
in a reach. at
Actually, looking
all.
at this, I wasn't looking at rankings coming in. There was somebody I forgot. I'm taking James Washington here at the 208 happily.
I didn't forget him.
No, I didn't either. I got him below
I've got
Wilkins.
him tanked.
I mean, I don't love where he landed in the Steelers, but I mean, considering how many other terrible or just non-drafted status of other players I had above him, he did move up post-draft for me.
In real life, actually, in your league, Dan, if he had fallen to 211, I would have taken him.
I don't think it's the worst landing spot. I mean, initially I was all against it, but his role is going to be, playing a deep threat. I know his size and his speed may be in question, but he is fantastic at positioning. And this is probably a better NFL move than it is a fantasy move. And at least he gets to play with Mason Rudolph, who looks to be the potential future after Big Ben's gone.
He does.
So there is that there. And with Brown potentially gone, I think after, 2 years?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I mean, yeah, all that's possible. You're looking at a situation where,
It's not great, though.
but I mean, the thing for me is the players I had ahead of him were guys like Lazard and stuff like that who fell out of the draft entirely. So it's like, well,
He's also a second-round pick, so
Third.
he's a second. I think he was a late second, I thought.
was he a late second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of Rudolph was an early
Yes.
third.
So he does have the draft capital, and he does well what his role is going to probably be for Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
So like I said, it was a good NFL draft pick. It's not great for fantasy.
All right, 209.
So I'm going to go with the other guy I was considering at my last pick, but Nyheim Hines. He's another guy that should carve out a role in Indy as a receiving back. They've talked about using him in the slot. Should be a gadget guy. It's more of a PPR pick than anything, but we typically, whenever we do mock drafts, it's assumed half PPR.
You should
Yeah.
always assume half.
I always assume half PPR. But look, it's another place where there's opportunity. I think that he carves out a role for himself as a receiving back, a third down back type of player. He's a guy you can run into your flex, and really, at this point, you're trying to find any value you still can before you start swinging for the fences.
And Colts have had bad luck with shoulder surgery, so who knows how Mac is going to come out of this. Maybe he can't even hold the
Maybe he
football.
can't throw a football.
All right, Dan, you're up at the
I'm going to
210.
go with the most decisive decisive pick and decisive player, and that's going to be Kalen Balazs.
God damn it.
I know. I'm high on him. I'm not even that high on him, and I still think this is a value pick.
You went about 2 rounds too early, and it's only a 3-round draft.
But he lands on a team in Miami, with the coach who for some reason doesn't believe in Kenyon Drake, at least from what we've seen. Damian Williams had 2 more touches within the first 3 weeks after Ajayi had been traded to Philadelphia. Even if his upside is Damian Williams,
You didn't know what
he
Kenyon
still
Drake was
took-
at that point, though.
But they had him for 2 years, and he had a chance to beat out Ajayi.
Well,
Year
I
Ajayi
think
broke
Ajayi is
out.
better than Kenyon Drake, but at the same time, when you went Damian Williams, Kenyon Drake, neither of them had seen the field, neither of them had done much, and then once the production started to happen, I mean, I would have been interested. All I'm saying is I would have been interested to see how that played out had Damian Williams not got hurt, because I think Kenyon Drake would have taken it anyway.
He definitely could have. But yeah, this is about where you see Balazs go is kind of this late second, early third range, just because there's such
upside.
a massive lack of
Well, that
running back
too.
It will
options.
never be me.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I don't expect it to ever be.
there's only about 2 other names to even consider in here besides the 3 we've taken, and it's overall pretty ugly.
It'd be like
Yeah.
me drafting Josh Allen.
I will not draft another running back in this draft. Just saying.
I've got 1 or 2 I'm going to look at, but it's not
Yeah.
much. All right. I'm at a kind of an ugly spot right now. Tyquan Smith is gone. I'm going to draft the only other round 2 receiver that was taken, even though I'm not a huge fan of his profile. And I am going to take DJ Chark here just because, you know what, when you're taking in the second round and you're kind of getting this thin on players, that's where you're kind of looking at this point. Not a real ringing endorsement, but
No.
this is where we're at. This draft drops off in a hurry. You want to be in the top basically about 16, 17 picks.
Thanks, landing spots.
Yeah, I'm also in a really ugly spot here.
Hopper's up at 212.
Jesus.
I'm going to take EQ St. Brown here. And
Exactly where we went in our draft we just did.
Yep.
I'm going to take him here, and that's because, look, despite everything that caused him to fall was attitude, which you can be humbled by the NFL, and was, his dad being like LeVar Ball. It wasn't his on-field talent. And they need a Nelson replacement. I like him more than the other 2 receivers that they drafted as far as the on-field talent goes. At the 212, I'm taking a swing here.
That's all you can hope for.
Yep.
All right, Dan.
I'm going to take the other running back. I think he won't have production this year, but I think he has a chance next year. That's going to be Mark Walton.
Oh.
What?
I was typing in who I thought it was, and I was wrong.
So Gio's going to be gone next year. Walton's going to probably step into that role. Though we're high on Mixon, there's a lot of people out there who are not. Cincinnati is finally actually putting together an offensive line. Depending on how well Joe Mixon does this year, Walton could have an even larger role next year than to be expected, because we're all pretty high on him here. He had decent tape before he got hurt, especially his 2016 tape was far better.
Beer review? That was a 3-1.
I was.
Oh, yeah. Let's beer review after Malcolm. Were you done?
Sure. There's not much else to say.
Beer review.
Sorry, I just realized we missed it.
We could have done it at the end of the episode.
We're going to follow your scripts, Nick. God damn it. We'll figure it out.
Right, I read the script. I'm following it for once.
God damn it.
I didn't try to skip for this episode.
But you told us.
I
and
did
we
tell you.
listened.
You told us, and we listened.
All right. So what did you guys think of Four Hands Juice to the modified contact high?
A little hoppy up front, great juiciness at the end, nice fruity, pleasant finish. It's a very pleasant IPA.
It's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it goes down way too easy. First night I grabbed one of these. I drank one and went, oh no. I was playing D&D with some friends, and then I just finished an entire 6-pack in
He
about
drank
3
one.
hours.
He was like Blake Shelton, and the more I drank.
Yeah, just
He has one, then he has 13.
if I had 13 available, I would have probably finished them all.
That'd have been weird, unless you had drank some earlier.
Or somebody just had a spare to give me.
One.
I don't know if they give Baker dozens beers.
I don't think so.
But yeah, great beer, Four Hands. This is one of our favorite breweries. They're out of St. Louis, Missouri. And we haven't had them on since back in the regular season. We wanted to get them on again, and I think we have another beer we're going to try to get them on for them in the next couple weeks.
Maybe 2 if I can find it here.
So look for a lot of Four Hands coming up soon. And if anybody's in the Midwest here, try to find some Four Hands.
Yeah, it's delicious.
All right. Am I on the clock?
You are on the clock.
Cool. This is an ugly spot.
It is a really ugly spot, so don't take what I want to do next.
Trade.
All right. There's about 3 guys I'm looking at here, but I think the pick for me is going to be Antonio Callaway.
Oof.
Based mainly on just draft capital and the talent that I think is there. I'm basically swinging for the fences because there's nobody that I feel is super safe.
He has the highest upside, but man, that Cleveland receiving core is
Ugly.
fucking gross.
All right, Hopper, you're up at the 303.
Sam Darnold, quarterback, New
Nope.
York Jets.
That's literally the other name I was looking
That's
at.
what I was hoping. That's who I was hoping you wouldn't snipe. He's my second-rated quarterback behind Baker Mayfield. He has the potential to see the field year one. He's got all the potential in the world. He's still young, big arm, super athletic. Jets are going to try to rebuild around him, so he's worth a third-round pick.
Dan?
I'm gonna go with the other quarterback that's even in this range of being drafted, and that's Josh Rosen. Like the landing spot, I'm not super high on him. I don't think any of us are.
No.
No, none of us
I
are.
love the landing
I
spot.
love the
though.
landing spot. I think he has the opportunity to then prove people wrong. He was the last of the big four to be drafted, so whatever, chip on the shoulder.
All right, back to me, and this is definitely a very weird spot, but the guy I'm going to look at here is my favorite tight end coming into the draft, even though he's going to be blocked for a few
Hayden
years.
Hurst?
And I am going to take Dallas Goddard.
This is the weirdest spot in the draft to be.
This is
Our fourth round is going to be a shit show.
we only have three.
He's talking about the real
No, I'm
draft.
talking about
real
real
one?
draft, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially
well, I
when
don't know because
A
there's
bunch
gonna
of
be
people in
some
the
players
league
that
don't know what they're doing.
they don't even
Yeah.
know. Good times.
All right, so yeah, Dallas Goddard, he's incredibly talented tight end. Unfortunately, he's behind Zach Ertz. There is no easy out for the Eagles on his contract for at least a couple years. So you're probably holding him for 2 or 3 years before you even get him seeing any serious targets and playing time.
Like most tight ends. So
But I mean, this is not there's no chance
he's
he
a
breaks
great
out.
buy in a couple years.
He
Yeah,
is.
ideally, you knock
Even
on,
after year one, like just as long as you have to hold him for super long.
just go knock on somebody's door midway through 2019 and try to buy him.
Fuck it, this year, it's good.
Hopper,
Kiki Kuti.
I will never agree with you on this one.
You never will, but I think, look, the Texans need some slot help. I like him more than Bruce Ellington. I like him more than Braxton Miller.
I like him more than Will Fuller, and I still don't like him.
I like him more than Will Fuller also. He's in a place where there's opportunity, and as much as I didn't like the frame, he's athletic, he can yak, and he's good over the middle. So,
It's like most of the cheap houses I was looking at last year. I don't like the frame.
yeah,
He could.
All right.
it's worth a 306,
Exactly.
Yeah, this is about the right
especially with the opportunity.
I'm gonna go with Deshaun Hamilton. This is more of a lawn play. I think his role.
I should have done that.
I think his role is going to actually be pretty decent after this year because I think they're both going to. I think for sure one of Thomas or Sanders is gone after this year. Sanders shouldn't be cut this year. It'd be a weird spot for them too, but Thomas could. I think both of them are gone. I think Hamilton takes the slot role, and he's got a lot of upside coming to him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and take my favorite late round running back, who I would take actually over pretty much everyone else you guys have already taken, except
Bo
for Wilkins.
Scarborough?
And I'm going to take Ito Smith.
Oh, yeah. I'm
He's
down.
coming up next.
I'm down with that also. Udo Smith's a guy that I definitely have eyes on just because he's not going to produce year one. But once Tevin Coleman's gone, which is after this year,
They're not paying him after.
They're not
this
going to
year.
pay 2 running backs.
yeah, Udo Smith is going to have that role.
They're not Carolina.
So he's going to be valuable.
Yep. And I love the way he profiles as a Tevin Coleman replacement. That's almost exactly how I see him.
Yeah,
Yep.
he can. Yeah, it's a
Hopper,
great pick.
your second to last pick.
So at the 309, I am going to go ahead and take. We'll go with Darius Fountain.
Do not hate that at all.
No, he's a guy that Miguel loved because of what's his metric name? It's slipping my mind.
PSI.
Yeah, because
Prospect success indicator.
because his prospect success indicator loved him. He's in Indy where he's got a chance. He's also there with Kershawn Hogan. It's a glut of wide receivers, but you gotta like the opportunity. You gotta like what the metrics are showing you. He's a guy that we actually liked his tape. He's got great jump ball ability. He's an athletic freak. He's got
A lot of
great route running
upside.
ability, ton of upside. So
And
you're swinging for the fences here. I'm swinging for the fences.
And it was Northern Iowa, but he was asked to do everything. They used
He
him a ton
pretty
on
much
short
did
catches.
everything. Pretty much did everything.
So it's not like he's just a deep threat, but he profiles as a really good deep ball player.
Yeah.
Goes.
All right, Dan, your last pick.
My last pick is going to be a pick I hated in the actual draft. It's going to be Hayden Hurst. For some reason, Baltimore loves him. And if you're looking for potential production, year 1, year 2, not a bad upside play. He is older. There is that downside there, but he's a first round pick, so they see something in him.
I mean, hey, getting a first round tight end in the third round is not a bad gamble, even if he's coming into the league at 25.
Nope.
All right, my last pick is a guy who I know is going to be blocked for a while, but I'm swinging for the fences. I'm taking Justin Watson here.
Yeah. He's going to be blocked until Deshaun Jackson's out of town anyway.
At the bare minimum.
At the bare minimum.
I think he profiles as a fantastic slot receiver, though, with Godwin and
Humphreys
Evans on the
could be
outside.
gone this year.
Yeah, he's on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
So Watson could come in. He's built like he's Adam Thielen on steroids is what he looks like.
Not literally. NFL.
If you're listening,
I hope not.
if you're listening, he's not on
literally
steroids.
on steroids.
But his pro day film, the guy's ripped and he's super athletic. Produced every single year in college.
He got a touchdown every game last year.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive.
Set an Ivy League record. He's a guy who profiled incredibly well, and to get that type of talent this late, it's like, yeah, the situation's terrible, but I'm going to swing for the fences.
I don't even know if it's that bad compared to other players. I mean, you know,
Hey, a few.
I think he could produce as early
just-
as next year.
just as what we're looking at right now. In 2 years, everything can change.
Yep.
fuck
Hopper.
6 months, everything can change.
I'm going to get us eviscerated because I'm going to take a guy that is going to go before another guy who we're not going to draft, and we're going to yell at for it. I'm going with Josh Allen over Lamar Jackson.
I would definitely hate on
Nah.
that. But
No, I know both of you would. That's why I'm doing it.
Of course.
I love the arm talent. He looks good in shorts, big hands. You know, he's going to have the opportunity in Buffalo eventually. McCarron's a fill-in that I think they're going to try and pump up and then get rid of. So, Josh Allen, if they can harness some of the wildness of him, he's got all the talent in the world. So, again, it's a 312. It's not something I value high. Now, if we had a fourth round, I would probably wait until early then to try to take him. But since we don't in this draft, look, I'm swinging. I want
a
him under
dart throw.
control just in case. It's the very last pick. That is the ultimate dart throw.
No.
I mean, yeah, I've got a late fourth on Josh Allen, so you're not that far off from me.
I got a high fourth, but you know.
I mean, yeah, I've got him at pick 410.
Yep.
So
He's ranked, but I wouldn't draft him.
I mean, I went 82 deep. So
I know you did.
I went 50 deep and he's ranked. So
any players that did not go who are kind of right on the fringe?
Trey Quinn.
Lamar Jackson,
For sure.
Mark Andrews, Ian Thomas, and then
I'll also put you one more because I think he does have a chance.
Jamon
take
Moore.
Jamon Moore is a mid fourth for me. Yep.
is interesting. So
Bo Scarborough.
Bo Scarborough would be one of them. I'm going through my list right now.
Even John Kelly a little bit, just because we love his talent. I know the landing spot sucks, but
John Kelly and Chase Edmonds both would have been in the third for me if I was making all the picks. Jordan Lasley as well.
But yeah, Jordan Lasley.
ugh.
And I think that's it. I think everybody else I looked at got drafted. So
Yeah. So that's all we've got for the mock draft. I want to do one quick other segment, and this is just going to be episodes we have that end up kind of shorter. Didn't send you guys anything.
I was like, what the fuck?
I was like, we're doing another segment? Shit,
It's
I'm not
just
ready
going to be
for
real
this.
quick. It's just going to be for those of you guys who support the show, just some quick ways that you guys can try to help us out.
Oh, okay. That's not a segment. That's just shout outs.
So
Do this for us.
effectively, we're bringing back a Sam self-promotion segment, but it's just going to be occasionally as opposed to an every time thing now, as like we used to do last year.
Hold on. No, keep talking. Like I need filler right now.
Okay.
Not about
He needs
that.
to find it.
Just fill it.
Fill it. So Dan, how you doing?
There it
Go
is.
ahead.
Found it.
Story time. There it is.
Throwback drops this week.
Throwback week.
So in the realm of tell all your friends, some things you guys can do to really help us out right now. We're really trying to push YouTube content. That's why we keep shouting it out at the beginning of most shows. We're definitely trying to build subscribers there. If you guys prefer catching your podcast in video form, it's a great place to go ahead and watch it. We're trying to do more content there. Once we get closer to the season, we're going to start trying to actually split that down into smaller segments too, right?
Yes.
So go ahead and look forward to that as well. So subscribing to YouTube is a big thing. Leaving us reviews on iTunes helps keep us in the top 20-ish of major podcasts on there.
For fantasy football, and we love seeing them anyway. So
Of
if you got
course.
something nice to say to us, go say it on iTunes.
Yep. Just dropping us a review there really helps us out.
You got it pulled up? we can read the nice review you said we got there. Give some shout out.
don't have
It's a pain in the ass to pull up.
Well, then don't worry.
Yeah, I don't have iTunes installed on this, so I don't know that I can.
Another time we will shout out that.
It's on
user.
my desktop, not on my laptop, so I can't pull it up. And I actually looked at it on Lindsay's iPhone. So
All right. Actually, I do think I've got it here. Anything else you want to guys shout us out that we should be that can help us out?
T-shirts and hats are coming available. Follow us on Twitter because we do a bunch of guest appearances. Any podcast that we do a guest appearance on, give them a listen. Not just to hear our voices, but they're usually pretty quality. So make sure that you check that out, though. Pay attention to what we're following. And like I said, we'll model the new merch for you next week. But we've got a new color of shirt and hats coming.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything.
All right, so those are the big ways you guys can help us out. This is just something we're going to try to do every couple episodes, just so you know that we put a lot of effort in this podcast, and just want to remind you guys how you guys can give us a hand.
And we also appreciate you guys for all the things that you guys do, for all the listens, for all the feedback, for all the fun banter that we have with you guys.
And stay tuned throughout the summer because we're going to have ways where you can interact with us, play with us this year. I think we get Dynasty League coming down the pipe. We're going to do the Listener Redraft League again. We're going to have some MFL 10s probably.
I'm not sure what they've renamed it, but the best ball leagues, yeah.
Yeah. So
and then
it's still MFL 10s.
Oh, they still call it that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, we will be at the National Fantasy Football Convention this summer in Dallas.
Yep. That is July 13th
to the 15th.
To the 15th.
Yep. We'll be there late Friday night. We got the VIP members or pass or whatever, and then we'll be there Saturday and Sunday as well.
So come say
Shoot
hi.
us a message, tweet at us if you guys want to meet up, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll have some beers. We'll
Hang
share
out.
some laughs.
That's what we're there for.
Or if you're in the Dallas area and be like, you got to check out this brewery or something, we'll try to
Fuck
make
yeah.
that work too.
Yep.
All right. So thank you so much for listening, guys. Hope you guys had fun with all the draft content. We're going to start transitioning to some more dedicated Dynasty content for probably 2-3 weeks. And then we're going to be in full-on redraft mode once we get out of that. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time on Beerfield Fantasy Football.
See ya.
Peace.